Welcome back to another episode of the Casey Campbell Podcast. Casey Campbell with you, of course. Pleased to be joined by the one, the only Mark Wasikowski from, of course, the head baseball coach at Oregon. How's it going?
It's going great. How are you?
Doing well. So, how is it out there in Eugene? And talk to me about how practice has gone for you guys the past few weeks.
Well, appreciate that. Happy New Year. No, it's been great out here. The weather's been fantastic. Blue skies, and practice is going well. Got another week and a half, let's call it, right before we start off with our first games of the season when we go down to the University of San Diego and play against, really good ball club, and Brock Ungricht, who it's his first year as a head coach down there, longtime assistant, really good player back in the day, San Diego native. We get to play against his ball club down there. That ought to be a lot of fun.
All right. So kind of take me around the diamond. Tell me who's going to be out there for you guys this year for Oregon.
Well, the dust is settling as we speak. And so, I think you can start with, starting in left field, Tanner Smith. He's a guy that is a proven Pac12 hitter. He's broken several school records, doubles, and so forth. He's a really good player. He's been a leadoff hitter for the Ducks in the past, and he's been just a guy that's a really tough competitor. He's a professional prospect, and he's kind of along the lines of a Cole Calhoun type player, but he'll get the nod in left field. Center field right now, there's quite a battle between two players, Colby Shade and Bryce Betcher. Right now, Colby Shade has the nose on it in terms of that race. Anthony Hall, San Diego native, would be our starter in right field. Big, strong, physical kid. Get a lot of looks from professional scouts in the early rounds of the draft based off of what he's done here in the past and this summer in the Cape Cod League. Going around the infield, third base, we've got a heck of a battle going on between three players. Transfer from South Carolina, Brendan Malone, mainstay here in the program, team leader type guys, Sam Nowitzki. And then another transfer that we had in from Cal Poly Pomona, who led the California League in hitting and was a tremendous player for Randy Benton at Pomona. Drew Calley is his name. So that's a heck of a battle. They all bring so much to the table. And that'll be fun to see how that settles out. I'm sure that at least two of those guys, if not all three, will be in the lineup in some capacity, included in the DH. So shortstop, Josh Kasovich. Boy, he's really turned himself into one heck of a player. Pro scouts are definitely noticing, and he's on draft list extremely high. Team leader, just an absolute, I can't say enough good things about the kid. Him and Gavin Grant up the middle. Second baseman Gavin Grant, tremendous team leader, defender, and he's turned his offense into something that's really raising eyebrows right now too. First base, freshman Jacob Walsh. A big, strong, physical kid, turned a lot of money down to be here to play for the Ducks. And he's a great player and probably even a better person. He's just nailed the classroom, and he's just been a real joy to be around every single day. And then behind the plate, we have some depth. It's awfully nice. Our incumbent starter, Jack Scanlon, is back. He adds size, physicality. He works really, really well with the pitchers. He's a plus defender, good receiver, cannon for an arm. And he needed to increase his offensive production. That's been on his radar screen, and he's done so. Then there's a couple other kids between Josiah Cromwick, who basically the only reason why he hadn't played a whole lot here in the past was a combination of COVID and just some injuries. But he's a tremendously talented kid. And then a freshman kid named Anson Arrows, who comes in, and he's tremendously talented. We even have a couple of other catchers too that are really, really good. Chase Meggers is currently leading our club in hitting, and another freshman named Bennett Thompson, who's a local kid from down south in Southern Oregon. He just brings a grit with him, a bazooka for an arm. We're blessed at the catching position, and it's a fun time to watch that competition unfold.
So let's talk about the pitching staff for a second. Where are you at in terms of that?
Well, it looks like Adam Meyer is starting to separate himself. He's Canadian right-hander in his third year of college, big power arm, came out of the Cape Cod League. Some of the gurus rated him as the #1 prospect in the country, transfer prospect in the country, that type of a thing. And he's living up to that hype. He's had a couple outings this spring, been heavily attended by the scouting community, and he's just got a power arm, really good spin rate, clean delivery, and a really good kid. He's a worker. The second, third, fourth spots will be, dust is settling, I guess, right now. Andrew Mosiello looks right now going into our third week of spring scrimmages to have an edge on the second spot. Isaac Aon, shoot, a week ago, he was probably in the second spot. So those guys are really in a neck and neck battle. Isaac's got a power arm. Andrew was a guy we used in really critical innings last year. Well, both those kids we did. They're both tremendous arms. They've got big upside. They're power arms with really good stuff. And in the fourth spot, that's been a mixture of three players right now. You've got Caleb Sloan, who's just got a bazooka for an arm and he's healthy and ready to go. You got RJ Gordon, same kind of thing. He was up to 98 miles an hour pitching for Ben this last summer. And then on top of that is a freshman named Tommy Brandenburg that's just really jumped onto the scene. Didn't pitch for us this fall because of a summer injury. It was like I don't know what he did. He did something during the summer. It wasn't arm related, but we kept him out of the fall, and he's been pitching during the spring, and he's been popping eyebrows right now. He's been doing really well. So the fun news is for Duck fans is it looks like we have some options, and we look at the scrimmages that are upcoming this week. We've got 4 of them. That lots on the line for these guys.
Yeah, for sure. I know you've been a lot of places in your career. Going back to when you came back to this area, coming from Big Ten country to Pac-12, what are some of the biggest changes that you've noticed since you've been in the league for a little bit since you came to Oregon?
Well, it's a great conference. In baseball, it's one heck of a conference. When you've got Stanford, UCLA, 2 traditional powers in the desert at Arizona and Arizona State. Cal Berkeley, Coach Esker, who moved over from Cal Berkeley to Stanford, Mike New, tremendous coach at Cal Berkeley. Lindsey Meggs at Washington was just in the College World Series a couple of years ago. Brian Green is an up and coming coach who's passionate, and he's got a real plan. I mean, if anybody out there doesn't understand how good Brian Green is as a coach, you're missing the boat there. That guy's good. Yeah. Gary Henderson, just what was it, 2 years ago, he's coaching at Mississippi State. He's the national coach of the year. He's now at Utah. I mean, it's a heck of a league. I mean, there's guys all over the league that are just really, really smart baseball people. And the conference is loaded. And I don't know, change. It just kind of seems like it continues to evolve and get better, but it's always been really strong, and it continues to be really strong.
Where do you, looking at your team right now, if there's one area that you can really, really improve on, what do you think that would be? If it's hitting, pitching, it's a position group or something, what do you think?
Well, with this particular club, we lost 3 of our top hitters on the stat sheet, 3 of our weekend starters on a stat sheet from a previous year. Those are key pieces. So from a fill into those slots standpoint, there's that. But I think the biggest issue is the fact that those players that have gone on to professional baseball now, you're talking about a lot of leadership that had been lost. And so really the answer for our club right now, or one of the biggest objectives, areas of improvement or just change, would be the fact that, the leadership's changed. And so now we're looking for guys like Smith and Kasevich and Grant, Nowitzki and Scanlon, and amongst many others, Mosiello and Aon and Gordon on the pitching staff and these kind of guys to really help the new guys get comfortable in the fold, lead the thing and continue to lead the thing, as well as the Aaron Zavalas, Kenyon Jovans, Gabe Matthews, Robbie Alstroms, those type of guys led in the past. Now these guys that are here now, I mean, the great news is we still have a guy like Colby Summers, the Pac-12's best closer is back. He's only 104 years old now for the Ducks, but boy, he's one heck of a left-handed pitcher. He's going to close games again for the Ducks, and he was the conference's best closer last year. And now he's back on a roster. I don't think any coach we'd be disappointed at all about that. That's just been a tremendous addition, leadership, and from what he brings to the table. So those are the areas of improvement for the Ducks this year.
Yeah. And what's it like to have fans have the Duck fans back at home? That's got to feel good.
Well, last year, towards the end of the year, after we started getting through some of the COVID restrictions, every game that we played at PK Park was sold out. Now, some of those games were only family and friends is what we could do. But then as we got through the second half of the season, capacities opened up all the way through the regional, and they were all sellouts. This place loves baseball. This is a baseball community. This is a sports community. It's a college town, one of the very few college towns in the entire western part of the United States. That's why so many athletes in all these sports are coming to Eugene. It's exciting. You're the professional athlete in town. You are the front page of the paper. When you show up to practice, you've got 7, 8, 10 cameras in your face every day. It's not just a once in a while thing, or even in some schools that you don't ever have that, And so at Oregon, these kids are the pro athletes. They're excited about that. In the age of name, image, and likeness, that actually can turn into profits for the athletes as well. I don't think anybody's disappointed when they can make some money, and these athletes are making money now at the University of Oregon while they're student athletes, and then with things that are set up for these student athletes and all the benefits that we have here at Oregon for sustainability through their life. It's second to none in the national landscape, not just the Pac-12 landscape, but the national landscape. With how these name, image, and likeness rules have transpired, the Ducks are definitely in a power position in the nation. I think the nation knows that. The athletes at Oregon clearly know that, and it's exciting for all of us here. The fans, boy, they're going to be treated because the ballpark has gotten about $3 million of new things out there. Whether it's the tech that help improve in player development areas, all the way to brand new turf field with awesome graphics that Nike designed. Amongst some other things, shorter fence height, more athletic plays are happening over the fence, and a bunch of different graphics on top of about $1.5 million new video board. It's really a fun time. It's a place where people want to go to the ballpark and enjoy themselves and go out and have a cold beverage, have a nice time out in the sun. And it's a lot of fun here in Eugene right now, as you can tell.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Waz, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us. Good to catch up with you again, and best of luck this season for you and the Ducks, and we'll have you on again sometime.
Sounds great. Keep up the great work, Casey. Go Ducks.